This second video is a continuation of the Chapter 3 assignment for the web class, and I'm starting on the worksheet on Part 2. Part 1 was on the other video, so if you haven't done that one and need some assistance, you can watch the other video at this point. Part 2 basically is looking at some additional search engines. What you have to remember about search engines and search directories on the internet is the reliability of those sites. While Wikipedia, for example, is not really a search engine or directory, it's written by people that are not necessarily experts in the field. It's part of what Web 2.0 is all about as far as interactivity, social media, and that kind of thing, interacting with people, but it's not necessarily authoritative people. There's an article here in the assignment sheet that says best search engines, and I've taken some of the recommendations here along with some in your book to give you for research. And all I want is just a real small report, nothing elaborate, but just to make sure you understand that there are some very reliable search engines that are not designed by software, but they are researched by experts in the field. So the first one I want to look at with you is called Wolfram Alpha. And if we go to that particular site, wolframalpha.com, you might notice here that it's called a computational knowledge engine. If you click examples, it will give you some research about the areas, particularly science, math, geography. You can go in and look at these groups and get some ideas on what kind of knowledge base is actually covered here. Now, some people will be very creative, and I hope you will be. Here are some examples. If you just click on one of the topics, you can look at some of the results. There are students who are unfortunately a bit scared or nervous, and they're going to type exactly what I have on the sheet out of fear of a grade or what have you. But I want you not to be afraid of trying some of these ideas right here when you're using Wolfram Alpha. So try that particular search engine. Let me go back to it, and as an example, I took a math, sorry about that, I took a math equation. If I can get this thing to click, and I'm doing something different maybe from what's on your assignment sheet, but I'm putting in an equation right here. Not only do I get a solution for the equation, I get a graph. And Wolfram Alpha assumes that you're going to maybe want a little more excuse me, than you bargained for here. I can go in with some geography. I can do something such as 20 most populated countries in the world, hoping that's what's going to happen. And when I go in and click this, it gives me what I think is the closest, and it's got China and India, United States, and you can see the distance between numbers 2 and 3 here, with those two Asian countries having a large percentage of the world population, about 2.5 billion out of the 7 billion people on Earth. You get the idea from there on what Wolfram Alpha does. And I'm just basically wanting you just to tell me about it. Don't worry about any specifics, how many words or how many lines or how many discussions you need, but just don't use what I teasingly say sometimes. Don't say that's their thing. Give me something with some substance to it. Yippee is known for its grouping capability. It has a very unique kind of search that I like. I think this was mentioned in your book. And you have options where you can choose the PC or the tablet or the mobile. So if I were going to search for something, and I use always my famous example with early college, the word chocolate. Not only do you get the search results from the word chocolate, but you'll get something over in the left-hand corner. So it looks as if my screen is just a little bit hung up on this. I'm going to refresh. It's trying to go through it now, so I'll try to do some stalling and hope this doesn't take a long time. If it does, I'll go to another search engine temporarily in case the internet is doing a little hiccuping on me. So again, what Yippee is supposed to do here is give you, there we go, is to give the typical Google-like results over here on the right-hand side of the screen. But then over on the left, we have these clusters that are very unique, where it looks at what's in the clouds, and it's got them divided up sort of like what Yahoo does. It takes the the search results and puts them in groups. So if you meant to maybe do recipes with chocolate, you've got 26 results there. You've got 5 for chocolate company, which if I click on that one, see what happens here. Yippie's being very slow right now, and if it goes too sluggishly, I won't waste your time with the video. Those are the 5 documents right there. So you can get some specifics with Yippee that are a little unique. I just want to get us out of the Google or Bing lockdown where we're not trying anything else. Xlead, another good example. Again, let me get right here to look at it with you. xelite.com. This is mentioned in your book and on your Cengage Brain site for your textbook. My computer's being very sluggish here. I apologize for what's happening here. And sometimes when you type in xelite right there, it goes a little crazy. It gives me something else, and I'm not sure what's happening since the book was published, and I forgot about that. I'm glad I did this actually, because I wanted to let you know this in case the same mistake came with you. But if I go do a search for xelite in Google, searching for a search engine isn't that good. If I go to xelite.com/search, the very first hit, I'll get the actual xelite site. And again, you got the group. It's even got Wikipedia here. Oh my gosh, I can't necessarily say this is authoritative. But what I wanted you to see here is that the advanced search, instead of going to a new screen, the advanced search is built in to the text box itself, so you have both items in one place. So if I wanted to go to a particular language or exact words or site search, I can click specifically and it'll help me put a little formula. So if I wanted to look up something at Cleveland CC, and maybe I want to look for the word schedule, I've got it built in right here, where in Google I have to go to a brand new search engine to see it. So just try all these, and I'll show you some features that you may not see necessarily in your own research. DuckDuckGo, which may not be very obvious here, DuckDuckGo has an automatic filter in there, so people are searching in areas that are questionable. The good thing about DuckDuckGo, down here at the bottom of the screen, down in the corner, which I may not be able to show in the video, the thing that's unique about DuckDuckGo is that the tracking is not there. So you've got what we call private. It's like the equivalent of private browsing. You've got private searching there if you don't want the computer to track what you're searching. Sweet Search, another example. Sweet Search is another very reliable one for educators, and it's done, the gathering of the databases for web pages are done by experts in the field rather than software that just goes through and crawls the web and records stuff. It's done by human beings. So you can actually look at, especially on the social studies biographies end, you can look at that information. And again, I've given you some suggestions on what to type. Just play with it. It's okay, adults, to play. Blinks, BLINKX.com. Again, it will tell you pretty uniquely what makes it special. You can read the screen and get an idea of what Blinks is. Don't just write down that's the answer. Give me a search. Don't just put a simple way to discover videos. All you've done is copy out of the book. We can all copy. I want to know if you've tried searching a video, and if it doesn't work for you, I want to know that. Everything doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't have to say I like everything. I don't want that. Isaac, named after Isaac Newton. A very unique result. Again, I'll get on my little chocolate hang up here. It gives some very unique results in the way that they're grouped together. And again, this is what I'm looking for in these assignments. Dogpile, which is a meta search engine. Dogpile actually takes the results of multiple search engines. Again, not necessarily reliability here, but you'll notice at the bottom half of the text box it's got Google, Yahoo, Yandex. So it takes several searches and combines them into one. The whole thing about this course, ladies and gentlemen, is just to do some research here. Again, see what you can find out. Do other research if you want to. There's Tatsit, People, P-I-P-L, I think it's called People. Alexa, which deals with the statistics behind sites. Cha-Cha, which became very popular. Spokio, which gets a little scary in some ways on what information is there and maybe inaccurate information. I'm going to show you, gosh, I drew a blank. I guess I had a senior moment here. I wanted to show you Alexa just in case you've not seen it before. And what Alexa does is it keeps track of statistical data. So if you wanted to know the top sites, for instance, those are the top sites globally: Google, surprise, Facebook #1, and Facebook 2, YouTube 3. You can go by country and search. And I hope that a laziness or an indifference will not kick, or a super time constraint on your part would not come in here. I know a lot of you are very busy, but I wanted to just make sure that you understood how this stuff would work out. In part 3, we're actually looking at some research sites, and I wasn't very specific about children's websites here. You can go in and just search for children's websites, see what you find. These are very reliable sites, again authoritative in that they're researched by not a search engine excuse me, not software for the search engine, but by experts in the field. One of my favorites right here is one called archive.org, especially if you are nostalgic or want to get some of your some of your folks into it. This one goes in and archives a lot of old classic material, especially videos. If you go to Wayback Machine, for instance, a part of this, I love this one because you can go in and you look at the K-12 information where the Internet Archive and the Library of Congress have gone together. If you go up here at the top to video, you can go in and you can look at animation and cartoons and get some of the very old cartoons and some of the new ones. I found some old commercials from the, or again, Walter Lantz, who is very famous for Woody the Woodpecker cartoons, Popeye the Sailor. There's some really old videos right here that are very classic, and you'll see some of them right here. This, and I apologize for if that suddenly became loud, but you get the idea. It's just an awesome site to look through. I think you'll have fun with these if you'll let yourself do it. Awesomelibrary.org. And again, try these out. I'm not going to do every single one of these for you. It's your assignment, and I've done this already. Awesomelibrary.org. Just take a look at some of this stuff and know that there's some great material out there. Don't just let us get set back in our old ways like, well, I'll just go back to Google after I do his assignment. But try some of these sites out and see what you think. And again, my report here, I know the book said write a short report also. I'm just wanting to get your opinions on these sites and really try them out. Give me some substance in them. Don't stress yourself out with a 7-page report. I'm not after that. I want to see how you do with it. And lastly, to handle this information, I want you to go to a site called Wordle. Many of you probably have seen this before, and I've given you an example of a Wordle over on the right hand side of this handout. It's only a sample, and you don't have to do these exact words if you're a literal learner. But I've got 3 videos that will help anybody who's uncertain or nervous about how to make a Wordle. Some people are scared about it unless they have somebody right beside them. It happens that this very first one is done by a colleague of mine from Central Piedmont who does quite a good job with both Wordle and Tagxedo. So if you watch these, it would help you.
Wordle. Go, and it creates a word cloud.
And you can go in and try these out. I think you would have fun with this. I really do. You just go to Wordle.net, I think it is. I've got it listed on the handout. And basically, you can create your own Wordle. You basically just copy and paste a bunch of text in there. So I wanted you to use some stop words or some search engines. So if you put Yahoo, Google, Bing, Internet Archive, and I think he shows this on one of his videos. I think if you put Internet Archive, if you put a little tilde between them, I think it will give you everything side by side. Sweet search, and I'm just doing this very quickly for you. Click go, and you've got, I think, it will give you a Wordle. Now, it will not be very impressive when you have just a handful of words like I do, but in the interest of time, I want you to see this. And you can go into the gallery, and if you want to, if you want to go in as you're working with your Wordle, if you wanted to go in, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy by any means. Let me put mine back together again, see what I can come up with. I apologize for jumping screens on you all of a sudden. You can put a bunch of the words in there, or you can, and then you can go in and you can do some modification to it. You can randomize the words. You can, and again, if you want to capture it with whatever your screen capture happens to be, mine happens to be the one with, and do more than 4 words, so it looks kind of cool. You can capture it with your screen capture and save it to your computer if you want to do it. And I'm just going out of mine. And basically, once you have all these pieces together, you're going to send me, not in email, that was for an email chapter, but you're going to send me a zipped folder that has all this information. So again, with your checklist, you want to make sure you've done the search phrases, the screen captures, just capture the advanced searches, the explanations, 2 questions about the I'm Feeling Lucky box. Again, just check these parts out instead of just relying exclusively on this video. Read the directions on the sheet. The sheet, for those who maybe are kind of clueless or nervous about it, the sheet is this one right here that says this is the chapter 3 assignment, and make a zip folder and send everything as one zip folder. If you have forgotten or don't know how to make a zip folder, basically you put everything inside your, create your folder. I'll do this in Windows. Apple's not that much different. You go to new folder, and let's say it's probably hard to see on this screen, but let's say I'm calling it Chap 3, and I'll call it Mike Sisk. And you basically throw your creations in there. I'll just use these, put them in there. Mine's telling me it won't work now because I've got something already open, but I can put some stuff in there. And to make a zip folder, in my case, I just right click it. In the Apple, you just choose compress. In Word, you do send to and choose compress zipped folder, and it will create a folder that has either a zipper on it, maybe a Z on it, maybe a stack of books, and that's the one I'm waving around now is the one that you actually send to me in the chapter. Hopefully this helps those who maybe are a little more insecure with my directions or the grade to have a better understanding of what this assignment's about. And if you have any questions, of course, contact me.